What's up guys, it's the Greek here, coming at you with a different kind of video that every guy here is going to know about some way, shape, or form. Certain things in life you got to deal with. Work, school, bills. In this video, we're going to be talking about one thing in particular. What's that? Women. Now, I'm not going to be talking about all women in this case. I'm just going to be talking about certain ones that we meet. Certain ones that we all meet and that we all have to go through. They're going to be very different. They're going to be very varied. But pretty much every guy will have a run-in with one woman close or somewhat remotely similar to the type that I'm going to be talking about in this video. So anyways guys, sit back and enjoy, and let me know if you like it by leaving a comment or liking the video. Thanks. So we start out with your first love. Now your first love could have been anywhere really. Could have been elementary school, middle school, high school, it doesn't really matter. But the first love is important. Why? Because you always remember. You remember everything about that. You remember all the times you had together, the good and the bad. You remember hanging out. You remember all the time you spent together. And then after a while, your first love doesn't seem to be what it used to be. You know, things start to look not as good as they used to. You don't have that much of a good time. And it's not anyone's fault. You two just grow apart. And when you break up, it's heartbreaking because you can't find anything to fill that spot. But you being the good man you are, you try and stick it in there. Why? Because it's your first relationship. It's the first thing you really know and the first thing you really care about. So you try and you stick in there and you give it all you can. But unfortunately, that's not good enough. Because sometimes it's just not enough. Things just get boring. You stop hanging out with her as often. And the times where you do hang out, it's not that long. It's not like it used to be. You would spend the whole day together, and you wouldn't really care. You wouldn't even mind, because the time would fly. And you try and spice things up. You try and buy her some nice things, some new clothing, something to make her happy, but in the end, you're not happy. You know why? Because it's just gotten old. It happens in relationships, and when it happens with your first one, you remember it. But it's different with the first one, your first true love, because she's the one that you always remember. You'll always think back to the good times you had and wish that you could relive them. But you can't, because you're different and things are different now. The good girl. The one you bring home to mom. Your first real relationship. Not one based on just hormones because you like her so much. The one that you like and you think you actually have a future together. And she's great. And she's everything that you wanted it to be. And there's nothing wrong. Or is there? But no. You take her shortcomings and you ignore them. Why? Because you don't care. Because you care about her a lot. And all your friends really like her. All your friends say that she's a really good girl and she treats you right. She's also a lot of your firsts too. Remember the first time that you and her spent a whole night together? Not just a half a night or a couple hours together. The whole night together. You couldn't get enough of her. You didn't want to let her go. And you didn't. And that's what you did. You would wake up every morning, you'd think about her, you would see her every day. And everything is great. And it's great for a long time. And you're with her for probably the longest you've ever been with anyone. And you meet other girls, and yeah, they're hot. But deep down inside, you know. They won't treat you as good as she does. So you stay with her for a long time. But eventually, sometimes even the best relationships have to come to an end. And it's not anyone's fault. It's not your fault or her fault. She just let herself go. And she just stopped caring. It's sad, really. And this one cuts you deep. You'll never forget her. And you always think about the good times you had. And you always talk to her whenever you can. And try and relive all the good moments. And after a while, you'll go back. You won't go back to dating her, but you'll hang out. Go get a cup of coffee. But you'll realize it's not the same. It's not the same way it used to be. And then you move on. Party girl, wild child, slut. It's a lot of names for this girl that you date next. And you don't really care. You're like, hey, everyone else has dated her, so why don't I give it a shot? And you realize that she's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But there's something a little off. Something about her just isn't right. And then you find out what it is. You find out she's crazy. She is absolutely certifiably crazy. But regardless of whether she's crazy or not, you have a lot of fun together. This girl teaches you things that you've never even known. You never imagined. But with that, there's also the possibility of her stabbing you in your sleep at night. But you say, fuck it, why not? Everyone seems to like her. I don't know what's wrong with her. And it's only until after you're done dating her, you look back, and you're like, wow, I cannot believe I did that. And you think you're lucky stars also, because you walk out of there with your dick intact. No chlamydia, no herpes, no nothing. But you can't deny the fact that you had a lot of fun. And oh, did you have a lot of fun. Even though every so often her douchebag boyfriend would come and threaten you. Oh, and I mean threaten you, I mean he would literally beat the shit out of you. And he'd run away. And you'd swear that you'd never go back to her, you'd never talk to her again. But somehow you always do. You always manage to go back to her. Why? Because she just fucked you so good. You couldn't help it. We're dumb. Guys are dumb. Guys love girls that treat them badly. Well, for the most part. Until you find another one that treats you good. Meet Jane Doe. There's nothing really special about her. She's just like every other girl. She's nice, has some good qualities, but there's nothing really special. There's nothing really bad about her either. But you know, you have good times. But it's just vanilla. You have high hopes. But unfortunately, it's just nothing special. She's going to be one of the girls that you just write down as some girl you dated. You look back, think of some good times you had. But other than that, it wasn't really anything special. She's just another stepping stone on your way, in your life, of girls that you've dated. And you don't hate her. You don't wish bad things about her. You just wish that she would be more than what she was. Maybe she took a little effort, made herself a little nicer, look a little better. Maybe she went to the gym. But, in the end, she was just beige. Middle of the road. Just another girl. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. You just wish that she was more. But it's not her fault. It was her parents' fault. They wouldn't let her. They kept her closed in and they just wanted to keep her safe. But unfortunately, that keeping her safe is going to keep her alone. Because you're not with her.